Well, hello, and welcome back to another episode of the series, The Truth Is. For those of you that are new and have clicked on this video for this particular subject, my name is Peyton 3.0, the EDM and drum step vocalist Zombie Supreme. I'm actually an entertainment brand at this point, musicpreneur, social media personality, all of that, as I grow and change. But today, this is another one of my many gifts, is to talk about things that have nothing to do with my music brand, and that's what this series is for and about. So the truth is a one-off series that had nothing to do with my actual brand as a entertainer on the internet. This is more about me speaking about serious, truthful subjects that you may hear from other people. You don't hear some of these things from other people, but you certainly haven't heard my perspective. Okay. And so anyway, you're here today. We're going to get right to it. All right. So we're here today to talk about the oppression in America. And, I can't speak for other countries because I have not grown up, lived, and been around other countries. I've only lived in this particular country. Okay. Oh, the music in the background, you say you like that? Maybe you don't. You're not into EDM, whatever, electro house. Shout out to Beyonce and Drake for bringing the house sound back. Although I'm actually just electronic music artist, period. All the way around. Always have been. So we're talking about oppression in this particular country. And maybe those of you who are listening from other countries can apply some of the things I'm going to be talking about in your country. Because some things are just universal all the way around. As human animals, we don't really operate that different from other human animals around the globe. We're fundamentally the same. We may have different cultures. We may have different ways of doing things, but fundamentally, we're just the same. And we can speak each other's languages and understand each other just through body language alone. So, with that being said, I forgot. To elaborate on that, there's this internal communication network that exists inside of all of our bodies that can sense things. That can kind of read the other person. You know what I'm saying? Some of you are projecting. Yes, you're projecting. Because you're not reading anybody at that point. You're not let the body do the work. You're too busy engaging your thinking brain and you're projecting when something may not be there. I'm talking about when the body is literally working and trying to tell you something about the other human animal, the other person. That's what I'm talking about when I say that our body has built-in sensors for each other to warn us when it could sense body movement, facial movements, tones of voices. It could sense those things, and it'll communicate with us what to do next, right? Anyway, so oppression in America has transformed and changed in many ways and disguised itself as something else, right? It disguised itself as something else. Now, take a look at this picture that we see right here. Take a look at it. What do you see? Tell me now in the comment section, what is this picture giving you when you look at it? Do you see defeated people on the ground? Do you see tired people working in the cyclist rat race 9 to 5 and tired out of their minds? What is a man that's sitting in front of the camera giving you? What is mouth taped? What does he symbolize for you in this country? If you live in this country, you'll have a lot more to say, won't you? So with that being said, oppression has transformed and changed over time in this particular country alone. And I'm sure it's possibly done that in other countries, but America, places like America or UK or countries that mirror America, oppression has changed and transformed in some very unique ways. We're not just going to be talking about on a racial issue, we're also going to be talking about on a class issue. Because the racial issue and the colorism issue is definitely still there. Definitely still there. That hasn't gone anywhere. Maybe some of us, I'm a black gay male, so I'm a black gay male, so I'm a double minority, but some of us have been able to get to higher places that none of us of a certain skin color, whether we're Mexican or I should say brown people, multiracial people, black, Asian, whatever. Some of these minority races, because believe me, though there may be people in some powerful seats of different colors or even sexual orientations in some power positions in the political machine, you best believe that they're still sitting under the white oppressive power that still has a hold over this particular country. Okay? So some people are still literally delusional in their own country about where racism itself, when we're talking about the racial issue of oppression, is. They're delusional about it because they've been covered up. Their eyes have been covered. And this is usually going on within a particular community, which is the white community. Their eyes are covered up. They can't see it because it's not as blatant anymore in everyday life. It's not as pronounced as it was back in the way back in the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, before then, when certain people were slaves in this country, when some people came over from other countries and they were made to be slaves, treated like garbage, ran out of their own country, or just taken over and pushed it aside. Right? But believe me, we have a even bigger pressing issue than anything to do with race or even anything to do with race. We have the class issue, which is right now facing us today, is an even bigger issue than the racial or colorism issue. Right? See, there's a generation that grew up, and I'm not sure if certain groups of colored people or people who are non-white, and like I said, this is not to make anybody who is white watching this feel any type of way. It's important that you know that your history and the history of what your people have done, so that you can be a part of the conversation and not being your feelings. See, I had a friend, his name was Patrick Holmes. I had to cut him off. Finally, we have been friends for 7 years. We connected because we loved to go to be in the club. He was DJ spinning. We met at a nightclub party. And I had to let him go. I had to cut him off finally. Because one of the things, I was just kind of growing. And I thought that he was where I was. He was a white. See, he's a white, heterosexual, privileged male. Even if he's still struggling out here working the 9 to 5s like me. His parents middle class, right? If that's even a thing anymore in this country. And I am a black, gay, dark skin, or dark brown male. Those two dynamics in this country still mean a lot. There was a situation we went through recently back in 2000 and I think was it 19 or 18, where in LA in the metropolitan, where we went to this, we got this gig at this this rich establishment where the rich people go, to party, and it was a huge colorish issue that actually wasn't hidden, a huge racial issue, okay, that wasn't hidden. Because the bouncers straight up said, we don't really like black people. And the way that black people kind of got treated who did show up, who might have had the money, you know, that some of these white people may have had, or they were in the upper class, obviously, because if you to be at that party, you basically had to be upper class. You have to have money in this club. And so Patrick's white privilege, I think, got him this gig, right? And the thing with Patrick is he is blind to his own privileges. He is blind. Just because he's at the bottom and barely making $30,000 himself, he is still blind to the privileges that he has as a white heterosexual male that still permeates till this day. And every time I would try to bring it up to him, he would get defensive. And he would try to change the subject because he was like, that's not real, that's not blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, Patrick, just because you do not discriminate against people, just because you do not use certain discriminatory things as such as race or class or whatever to discriminate, does not mean the world that you operate in is not operating that way. When we go out, me and you get a whole different treatment separately that you're not paying attention to because you're sitting in your body, you're operating from just your own point of view. What I'm trying to tell you how it is for me, what I've been through as a black gay male operating in this country, in this world, at 30-something years old, I feel like subconsciously you block my, what am I trying to say? You block my legitimacy of what I'm trying to tell you as if I'm making it up, and you try to change the subject, right? And that was something that came up again and again. See, he asked the bouncer in the club because I started getting certain looks and things, and the bouncer straight up told him, we don't like black people and we don't like gay people. Okay, we don't really want your friend in this club, even though me and Patrick came together to be business partners once again in a little thing we were trying to start in that upper 7th club of our own for business, for promotion. We have the iPads and everything, you know. Try to have our own little like night there, you know, and make some money. But because of the fact that I was a double minority, and they didn't like the fact that I was black or gay, and I wasn't afraid to show it. I wasn't hitting on nobody. I was just in there doing my thing. I was dancing. I was just having a good time like I usually do. But they didn't care. And the bouncer said it straight out. And eventually we ended up leaving. And it was a good thing that he left for me. He didn't want to do business with them because they had this kind of issue. And he was literally hit with it in his face. Because I don't think Patrick has hit enough in the face with somebody telling him about not liking one of his friends because they're a certain color or sexuality. He wasn't used to that, right? But there it was in 2018 right in his face. And so, but then I kept bringing up the issue of his privilege, no matter how much money he's making or not, and how he's not on the same level as a person of color in the treatment, because it's more than just money, right? And he wasn't getting it, and he got upset when we were in the car, and he was like, well, how do we fix it? What do you want, like, what do you want me to do? Whatever. And we were telling him, we're not telling you to do anything. We're not telling you to fix anything, because it's not your problem alone, and you're not contributing to the problem, which is the great thing, which is the reason why me and you and us and the other person who was, I believe, Latin, multiracial, in the car with us, Mexican, we're not telling you have to fix anything. We're just trying to make you aware, if we're going to be friends, we have to get over this hump. We have to get to realization of what it really is to be friends with somebody of color when you are a white privileged male, even if you don't see yourself that way. Just because you don't have the type of money other white people above you may have. That's not the point. I've seen Patrick get so many privileges and so many things over me, being a friend of his, even by people of color, because believe it or not, some people of color out there will play the capitalist game and use the white man to their financial advantage when they're trying to start companies and run business, because they know that's going to sell the best and easier, and then pay somebody like me no mind, because I'm still the bottom of the totem pole in a lot of ways, right? So with that being said, he was like, how can we fix it? How we can fix it? We said, we don't know how to fix this. This is not an overnight thing. There have been many civil rights leaders and people out there who have come and tried to fight and got us where we are now, but we always need to go further. And whether you like it or not, you don't get to choose whether you were born in privilege or not. You don't get to choose how the people out there see you or treat you. You don't get to choose that. Okay? You don't get to choose that. But you just got to acknowledge it. Especially when you're not in a group of white people around you. When you're in a group of colored people, you have to acknowledge that privilege of yours. You have to acknowledge what it is that you get, even if you're not making much more money than somebody of color at the bottom, working at McDonald's or something. That's not the point. You get these social privileges that a lot of us are not getting outside of our own race. Right? And that's one thing. But then I also relate to him, the color thing is not even our biggest issue on the plate. What's the biggest issue on all of our plates, especially in a country like America, is the class issue. Because with actually the thing that brings, if we could step away from race and colorism, because we haven't really delved into colorism yet, but we all know, if you don't know, let's talk about it. Within even the color races of Black, Asian, Filipino, whatever, Mexican, Guatemalan, whatever, there is a shade issue of the lighter the skin is, the better off a treatment that you get. And especially in a country like America, which is very true. That paper bag thing still exists. It's just not set out. It's just transformed and it's kind of hidden in the back where nobody says anything. It's not written on doors anymore. It's not written on bathrooms. It's not written on fountains saying no colors, no dark-skinned people. It's not written. It's not in the open, but it's still fresh in the minds. It's still affecting us today. It's like a generational curse that just keeps going round and round and round throughout every single race, particularly in this country. And when I started to talk about we have also bigger issues to fix, we're just asking you to acknowledge what you have. So the thing is that if you can't acknowledge the privilege you have as a white heterosexual male, whether you feel guilty about it or not, if you can't be honest with us, we can't be friends, because I can't be friends with a white man who cannot acknowledge what they have and want to deny it, and also not only that, you wanting to deny what I go through, what I've been through, even as a friend in your vicinity, with other people that we come in contact with. You know? And so some things are just a major straw for me over the 7-8 year relationship, and the fact that you bailed on certain things plenty of times, and I'm just like, I gotta end a relationship right now, because I'm going these places despite my challenges in life, and you're holding me back at this point. So I need to cut you off and let you go. You know, so basically, I try to get to one of our final conversations with each other was, I said our bigger issue that brings us all together where we are is the thing I'm talking about when it comes to money, class, right? Patrick's parents may be middle class, but he's in the poor class. You know what I'm saying? He's making $30,000 or less. He's in the poor class. Right? The thing that even holds white people together with colored people of any kind, Asian, whatever, is their money and their status. If you are a working class person at the bottom, making even $45,000 a year now, because the middle class and the working bottom class are being thrown and smushed together like heck. And there's now a big gap to where the truth is there's really not even a middle class. It's really just rich and poor. Rich and working class, wealthy and working class, you know, and that's what could put the lower bottom of the wrong white people when making buku money and own businesses or business with the people of color or Asian who are at the bottom. Right? And that issue actually permeates even over the racial and colorism issue for a lot of reasons. Right? And so Millennial Generation Z, for some reason, they've been told, even in colored situations, colored races, black, Mexican, multiracial, whatever, Asian, Filipino, blah, blah, they've been told, you could be anything you want to be. You could be the president. I think my mother used to say this stuff to me. You could be anything you want to be. You could be the president. You could be... No. Let's stop doing that. No. Because you're dealing with the world as a person of color or whatever it is in one way, and you want to sugarcoat it for your kids? No, let them know what it really is. Let the kids know how grim it is, so they're prepared for when they go out there in the real world. They try to do things that they may have been suppressed because of certain factors and certain cards they've been dealt with that are beyond their control. And then maybe they could try to find healthy ways and know that, hey, you may have to try 1,000 times harder than that person over there because of the privilege they have as this, and that. They need to be able to swallow those truths so that they know how to handle the world or the country or whatever that they're in with the cards they've been dealt, and how they can play those cards, how they can swirl around. They need to get 10 times tougher, work 10 times harder. If they really want what they're trying to go after. You can't just sugarcoat it for the people, because, like I said, oppression is still very well and alive in a lot of ways, and it has nothing to only do with color. Now it's definitely becoming a class issue all the way as well. So you have those defining factors, right? And so I'm going to end it right there. I just kind of wanted to come in and open eyes up again, and just kind of say that, honestly, be aware of the oppression that still goes on around you. A lot of the times we like to self-medicate ourselves, and get in where we fit in, or try to fit in somewhere, but just be aware of all the issues that affect you. And also, not to single any race out, but because it is what it is, the white race, don't be a Patrick Holmes if you're a white heterosexual male. Don't be a Patrick Holmes if you're a heterosexual female that's white. Don't be a Patrick Holmes and deny your privilege just because you make $30,000 or less a year. Just because you're not racist, colorist, classist, just because you're not, because the world that you're living in, the country that you're living in, that's not the reality that you're living in. Unfortunately, the majority. That's not what you're living in. Is there still a fight? Absolutely. We have a lot of work to do. The boomers are still around. They're still alive. Generation X, and there's still a lot of problems within that generation alone. That has seeped down into the millennial generation, obviously. And in some ways, the most progressive generation, which is Generation Z, is even starting to seep down into them too, as they still have to live around those other generations that are still here on the earth with their dinosauric ideas, so that power can be held onto any way that it possibly can. Divide the people up and you gain power. What is the United States saying? It's America saying, it's united we stand, powerful, and divided we fall. Well, the powers that be wanted us divided, and that's exactly the result that we got. We're divided on a lot of things. Divided in so many ways. So we've fallen completely as a people. And the question is, will there be a repair? Will there be a repair? Is this a democracy? Or is this communism disguised as democracy? I don't know. I guess we don't know. Some of you know. Let me know what you think about the issues that we are still facing. The many changing faces. The many changing phases of oppression. Let me know in the comment section what you have to say. My name is Peyton 3.0, the EDM and drum step vocalist, zombie supreme, the voice of a generation, the entertainmentpreneur. Make sure that you hit the like button, please. Hit my likes, please. Make sure that you comment, because this is not Hulu. It ain't Netflix. It ain't CBS. It ain't Disney Plus. This is social media, and that means we got to be social, baby. Don't just be looking, scrolling past on Facebook, pressing the like button. No, make a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Even if you hated what I had to say, even if you disagree with what I had to say, make a comment in the comment section. Press the thumbs down, dislike button. All of that helps the algorithm to show the video, because whether you hate the video or not, whether you hate the content or not, it still shows the algorithm that people are actually interested in this video. Let's show it to other people, right? Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, okay? And for those of you who are my diehard Zombitrons, the Peytonators, I thank you so much for being into every single piece of content that I put out there on the cyberwebs. And that's going to lead into my social medias. For those of you who are into EDM, that's electronic dance music. Okay, things like Beyonce's Break My Soul and the latest Drake album, things like that. Okay, things like Daft Punk, Martin Garrix, Skrillex, okay, Excision. We can go on, Marshmallow, things like that. These social medias are for you. Now, for those of you who are more into just the mainstream music, whatever, you're into the mainstream American songs, I got one social media for you. That's sessionslive.com that you see over here. Sessionslive.com/Peyton30662, as you can see under the red Sessions Live moniker. That's a platform where I can go live and actually play music from other artists that won't get me copyrighted, because the rights have been bought out by the creator of that platform from Pandora. You can request your favorite song. We can get to know each other and have a good old time. And it's really gamified and it's fun. For those of you who are in the EDM, it's a Twitch for musicians. Just think of it that way if you haven't been over there already. Okay. Yeah, so put that little URL in your browser. Then we have, for all the EDM lovers, Snapchat, I'm on there. Get free unreleased songs by getting to that bit.ly link, or going to my website, which is Peyton30.com. That's Peyton30.com, okay? And you get 3 free songs as a gift for getting on my email list, because my email list, with the way social media is changing and the way that I have no control over social media and when they decide to show people or not showing people, you know, but I do have control of my email list, and that's where I can reach everybody that gets on there so they don't miss a thing. Okay? On social media, I can't control it. I can't control what YouTube does, who it shows the video to, who it doesn't show the video to. I can't control what Facebook algorithms. I can't control none of that bullshit. But I can control my email list, okay? So if you're really interested, get on the email list, but only if you qualify. That means you're into EDM, you're into dubstep, you're into drum and bass, you're of the Plur community. Peace, love, unity, and respect. All right, soundcloud.com/Peyton30, Instagram, get on it. Facebook, Zombitron community, okay? Facebook.com/Peyton30. TikTok, Zombitron Nation. That's the new TikTok. The old one I ain't paying attention to. We'll talk about it later. That's the new one. If you're on the old one, come over to the new one. Come over to the new TikTok, which is Zombitron Nation. Then we got YouTube.com/Peyton30 covers hits, which is this channel right here. So make sure that you at least hit my likes. Some of you are in the other room doing other things while you're listening to me in the background. Well, I need you to stop what you're doing and do one thing for me. Come over here. Come on downstairs. If the computer or the phone is in the other room, in the living room, you're upstairs. Stop changing that oil. Come into the house and hit that like button. Then go back about your business. I will see you later on the next episode of The Truth Is. Bye-bye now.